thought you were loved. You thought you were chosen. You thought this was a relationship. But I want you to actually look at how you're being treated. What if you weren't being loved? You're being used. What if you were just a function, right? Not for one specific thing, but for a role. My name is Lisa Sonni. I'm a certified relationship coach. I'm an author of 5 books, and I help women exit toxic and abusive relationships with these kinds of men, and I help them rebuild and find themselves. So if this is the kind of content that you know you need, hit subscribe so you don't miss more videos like this. In this video, I'm going to break down exactly what they're doing, what function you're being used for, why they're doing it, how it affects you, and more importantly, how to get out of this cycle. Now, what is this function that so many women seem to play in the lives of these men, okay? You become this person who regulates his emotions. And a lot of these guys won't admit that. They might not even acknowledge that completely, but you take the brunt of their garbage moods. When he's mad, you need to calm him down. In fact, you probably need to make sure that he doesn't get mad to begin with, right? This is the constant thing that's happening. He's a little bit off and you swoop in and smooth things over. You manage the house, you manage the schedule, you manage the details. You do things, you keep things running, even though you're not maybe being specifically asked to. This is just the role you play. You're there when he wants access. When he wants to have sex, it's expected that you give that to him. This is something you have that you give to him. You are serving this function. Part of this too is not even as obvious, right? You actually support how he looks to other people. You're part of the image management. He's the good husband, the good boyfriend. He's the nice man that everybody likes. He's got a wife or a girlfriend. He's got kids. He's got the house, the condo, whatever. You are serving part of this role for him. And I think one of the hardest parts about this is that you don't even realize that you're doing it. You don't even question it. You just step in automatically. The amount of benefits that men get from being in relationships with women, it's astronomical. Because on the flip side, so many of these kinds of men also will say that there's no benefit and that they don't need women and women are good for nothing, right? Meanwhile, why are they with you? Why do they choose to be in relationships? Because you serve a function. You're playing a role and they like it. They like the service that you're providing. Now, of course, day to day, this is going to show up when he wants attention, when he needs something, when he wants sex, validation, help, an appointment needs to get made. And you feel this pull towards him in all of these moments, but then he'll kind of pull back. Because when you need support, he's not there in the same way. It's always completely different when you need support. And you can kind of feel the difference in that. You feel this gap in what you get versus what you give. Your needs have no value. Your needs are ridiculous. He can easily just cast those aside. But when he has needs, it is damn well expected that you serve your function. The amount of women that I talk to that describe that they are made to feel like they are an inconvenience, a burden. So anything that you need in the moment, right? And it could be anything from like, my God, you're always asking for things to like an eye roll. It's anything in between these things. And all within this, you start to notice when he's available and when he's not. When he needs something, there he is. When you need something, he's nowhere to be found. And I think one of the things that's just not talked about enough is that when you're inside this, you feel needed, right? We do this thing, women, right? And early in these relationships, it's nice to make him dinner. It's nice to do little things for him. But that doesn't seem to last because in the beginning, they tend to reciprocate. Is that still what's happening, right? He wooed you. You're in this relationship now. You felt needed. You felt good. You felt relied on. So you step up and you give more. And you become more available because it feels like there's a reward, right? He's happy and he's kind to you. So it almost feels like, okay, reciprocation. But that tends to stop. And the worst part about this is that we tend to be tying our value to how much we do. Because you notice when he responds positively, that makes you feel valued and seen. So you show up for him and that feels amazing. But then you start chasing that response. You're doing more, but guess what? He's doing less. And if you don't keep up your end, let's say you notice the imbalance and you're like, hey, he's pulled back, I'm going to pull back. You're going to be punished in some way. It might not be huge, right? Maybe he screams at you and that's obvious, but maybe he just becomes mildly pissy. He's in a bad mood a lot more often. You feel it. And so you adjust. And when you go back to doing a bit more, you're serving your role, you're playing that function that he loves, you're going to get better treatment. So this is just a system of reward and punishment. So I want you to kind of stay with us, okay? Think about this. When is he warm? When is he distant? When do you see the pattern in how things change, right? The more you perform, the better treatment you get, or at least the least worst treatment you get. Catch me what I'm saying there? But do you notice that your needs don't carry the same weight at all? You see that, right? You feel it as it's happening. You start anticipating what's going to happen if you don't fill your function. You know exactly when to step in with him. You know when to hold back too. You know when to kind of take a seat and let him do something. And you know exactly when he's expecting you to step in and manage his life, give him the sex that he's demanding. And what happens if you don't perform this role? Something bad. But when you are constantly having to read a man like this and manage his moods, you know that sort of assessment feeling where you're kind of scanning, your body is waiting and you kind of feel it? This is management. Men like this expect you to manage them. But of course, they'll never say that. They'll never admit that. To them, it's just the natural order of things. So they would never see it as you managing them. But that is what this is. Now, there's some signs that you just really can't ignore, okay? And I think that you need to recognize these things. So I'm curious which of these is really showing up with you. He's kind when he wants something from you, right? The energy sort of shifts when you need something from him. Then there's a problem. You bring something up and it doesn't land. He doesn't care. You set a limit, a boundary, you say no to something, you decline to provide this service, and he's pissy or there's tension or the mood changes immediately. So you stop doing something for him. And I'm telling you, he'll notice that so fast, right? Suddenly it's, oh, you stopped doing whatever. But he's never going to talk about the things that he stopped doing. There's this distance when you're not performing in the same way. Maybe he's a little more cold or emotionally unavailable, just baseline unhappy. You can feel it, even if you can't quite name the behavior. The truth is, there are overt abusers and covert abusers. The covert ones are often a lot harder to spot. And we think, if he would just yell at me, if he would just do something drastic that I could really point to and be like, that's the abusive thing, that it would make sense. The covert ones, it's like you can't quite put your finger on exactly what the problem is. There's just this distance, this coldness. But it's consistently like that. You've seen this more than once. You have felt it. So you know what's happening. Trust that you know. Now, this gets really confusing for women, especially with all the societal messaging on what relationships actually look like. Being needed can really feel like closeness, right? He needs you. That feels like love. That feels like connection. You feel maybe important in those moments, valued, right? Like you matter. It feels like he's choosing you because you're amazing and he loves you. But you're the one that he relies on. You're the one that he goes to. I know it can feel like intimacy, but he's actually creating dependency. And I can't help but notice the complete irony, let's say, in the fact that these types of men who are hyper dependent on their wives and need you to do everything are these self-proclaimed alpha males who think really poorly of women in general. But yet he's happy to have you serve his entire life. This is one of the many ways that they actually condition you to play this role. They put you in a role where you have to perform this function. And when you don't, you're unsupportive, you're not helpful, you're not doing enough, you're lazy, you're selfish. They expect this of you. This isn't something that they do in a situation where they are expecting reciprocity. This is something that they do specifically because they want to get from you. And so obviously over time, this is exhausting. And I don't just mean physically, but also physically, because this is a lot of labor, but also the emotional labor. You're tired, right? You're always on in some way, always making things happen, always aware of what he needs, always on top of it, anticipating what his mood will be, anticipating what he wants for dinner, anticipating what station he wants to listen to in the car on the radio. Just everything. It's exhausting. But this is conditioning to make you not care about yourself anymore, right? So you delay what you need for yourself. You don't feel connected to yourself. You don't even know what you want. And even if you could know what you want, you can't do what you want or say what you want because you know what's going to happen. Some punishment. Again, whether it's overt or covert, there's something. So all of this builds, this complete erosion of yourself builds, and you're not being seen at all. You are being used in parts to serve him, and the parts that don't serve him, he ignores. So when you rest, you don't get the same attention. So you feel this feeling every time you even attempt to step out of the role. When there's a consequence, it shoves you right back into the role because the feeling of being loved and needed and chosen feels good. So you chase the feeling by chasing the behavior, which really only keeps the cycle going. So if nothing else, notice this cycle. See what's happening in your relationship. This is toxic, abusive behavior where a man puts you in this role and there's no possible way out. Do you feel trapped, overwhelmed? That makes sense. Now, if you're struggling to actually speak up, that means that it's probably not safe for you to speak up. What happens when you try to address this? If he shuts you down, deflects, minimizes, gets angry, or anything even in this arena of feelings here, if he does these things, it's because he doesn't care that he's exploiting you. He doesn't care. Your job is to be this function. Again, this is the natural order of things. Why are you upset to begin with? But the way I see it, you're not here to run someone else's life, not a grown adult. You're not here to be useful. You're here to exist and be a fully autonomous, independent woman. And yeah, you can be an autonomous, independent woman as part of a healthy partnership. Those two things are absolutely possible to go together, but they don't go together in a relationship that's abusive. Subscribe if you're not already. And if you are ready to do work, if you're ready to actually change your life, make decisions, become more clear, you can work with me one-on-one or inside my group coaching programs, or you can join my online community called She Rises Collective. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch you in the next video.